Hello, my beautiful watchers. I am... Tad dramatic. Anyway, I humbly request your attention so that I might share with you my thoughts about what I consider to be one of the greatest TV shows of all time. It is, of course, a British TV show, and despite premiering a good 20 years before my birth, I have strong nostalgic memories of it, as it happened to be replayed on the BBC around the time that I was returning from school, a rather unhappy child and in desperate need of some escapism. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you, The Prisoner.
The Prisoner is one of those shows that, even if you think you've never heard of it, you'll have actually almost certainly have already seen multiple references and homages to it in popular media. The opening sequence serves as both the setup for the plot and a reminder for subsequent episodes, removing the need for the usual ham-fisted plot exposition rampant in the dialogue of other shows. It portrays a man who is apparently so badass lightning strikes every time he slams his fist on a table, driving into a building, throwing a tantrum, then storming off. A super high-tech filing system then deposits his credentials in a cabinet marked "Resigned." He drives home and starts packing a suitcase, but is ambushed by some creepy-looking men who flood his room with knockout gas. He awakens in a rather charming village on an isolated island. After being left to run around for a bit, trying to get to a phone or a boat, and being weirded out by the unusual behaviour of the residents, he is invited to meet the village management. Almost every single aspect of this show is left open to the interpretation of the watcher. In an effort to cut down on the amount of times I have to say words like presumably, maybe, and apparently in this review, I'm just going to give you the conclusions I came to, but don't be surprised if when you watched it, you saw an entirely different story. So apparently, see how long that lasted. The hero, whose name you never learn, is clearly a secret agent of some sort who's returned to MI5 or MI6 to tell them to shove it after being sent on one wet mission too many. The man in charge introduces himself as Number 2 and explains that everyone in the village is assigned a number instead of a name. The hero is to be dubbed Number 6. It's not a ranking system as such, but I do believe it's a sign of the importance they place on certain people. Number 2 explains to Number 6 that he has been taken prisoner because they are very keen to find out the reason he resigned his secret agent job. Essentially, the entire village is probably the nicest looking jail in existence. 6 shares his opinion on this subject.
I've nothing to say. Is that clear? Absolutely nothing.
Now be reasonable, old boy. It's just a matter of time. Sooner or later you'll tell me. Sooner or later you'll want to.
In keeping with the theme of the audience being left to draw their own conclusions, it's not ever fully explained if the village has been set up by Number 6's former employers, who just can't accept the reasons he gave them for resigning, a rival agency looking to gain advantage over them, or another country altogether trying to extract his secrets. Or it could just be a figment of a deranged mind. I will come back to that theory later. A new Number 2 turns up at least once an episode, and they make it pretty clear early on that the Number 2s that have not succeeded in breaking Number 6 in the past have come to rather sticky ends for their failure. When Number 6 inquires who Number 1 is, he is not given a satisfactory answer. Number 1 remains an unexplained sinister presence on the other side of a wireless red phone right up until the last episode. His contacting the various 2s is usually cause for them to void their bowels, so presumably he is the guy who gets the final word on their continued existence. Number 6 is then given the opportunity to observe Rover, the giant floating ball thing that people talk about as if it's some sort of robot and who chases down people who cause trouble or try to escape. When you first see him, he looks about as intimidating as a kitten chasing a piece of string, but that ends the second you see him smother a man to death while leaving his screaming face on display so everyone can watch the horrific death throes.
Thanks a lot, The Prisoner. Now I'm scared of spiders, meteors, and balloons.
Surprisingly unimpressed by what he has seen, 6 makes his first and least subtle escape attempt, i.e. picking a random direction and running like buggery. Some human guards try to stop him first, but prove insufficient, so they send Rover after him. It doesn't kill him, but does beat him into unconsciousness in what I can only assume was a fit of balloon rage. Number 6 awakens in a hospital full of creepy shit and comes across an old spy friend of his named Cobb. Cobb reveals that he's been in the village for a few weeks now and must not have been having a very nice time at all because he promptly jumps out of a window.
The Amnesia case, sir. Cobb, he's jumped out of the window. He's dead.
Sometime later, during Cobb's funeral, number 6 notices a woman who seems to be particularly upset about it. He approaches her and it turns out she and Cobb had an almost finished escape plan put together, and he talks her into letting him help her finish it. While it is soon revealed that she is in fact one of number 2's cronies, it does appear that she's had a genuine change of heart as she gives number 6 an electronic passkey in the shape of a watch which will allow 6 to get past Rover and activate the helicopter used to bring supplies to the island. Unfortunately, this all proves to be in vain, as the control room has the power to override the helicopter mid-flight and they pilot him right back to where he started. You don't see number 6's friend again, so I can only assume she met a gruesome end for her part in the escape attempt. It's revealed then that Cobb isn't dead after all and has agreed to join the side of whoever is running the village.
Well, I better be going. Got a long journey. Mustn't keep my new masters waiting.
The implications stemming from the fact that the village was able to break and convert a man that 6 had so much respect for in a matter of weeks are rather alarming. In a slightly unusual spin-off series, Cobb is then sent deep undercover to spy on 2 potential anarchists by pretending to be their good-natured neighbour. I'm just fucking with you. The long-term purpose of the village seems to be as weird as possible in order to weaken number 6's grip on reality and soften him up for the various attempts at extracting information from him. Some of the things that they come up with do seem like genuine mindfucks, but others just leave me with a distinct impression they're just trying to annoy him into submission.
Have we broken you yet? No. 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 Have we broken you yet?
Oh yes, I can feel myself cracking.
Really?
No.
Ah.
Number 6 and the audience are never quite sure how many of the other residents of the village are also prisoners, how many are guards, and how many are expert psychological torturers put there to help break him. After a few episodes, the paranoia starts to get to both him and you.
You're new here, and you're one of them. You're one of them. I'm not. You are.
You find out remarkably little about the hero throughout the show. He's shown to have an iron will.
Number 6 was about to talk.
Don't you believe it? He'd have died first. You can't force it out of this man. He's not like the others.
And a true Englishman's obsession with tea.
I cannot stand girls who don't know how to make a decent cup of tea.
But that's about it. He refuses to give up the slightest piece of information to his captors, so you don't learn anything about him either. Part of the reason for this may have been because of the actor playing him. Before The Prisoner, Patrick McGowan was most famous for being in a show called Danger Man, aka Secret Agent, where he played an international super spy and all-round charming badass. Short of casting Sean Connery for the role, I really don't think they could have made it more clear that they want you to think of this guy as an alternative James Bond. Although a major difference being, number 6 knows that no means no. The episodes that centred around number 6 trying to escape tended to end with the village getting the last laugh, and those focused on number 2's attempts to break 6 usually ended with number 6 coming out on top. Plots that had a little of both resulted in a stalemate.
Assuming that I don't receive massive audience objection, I'm planning to go through these episodes 2 at a time until we reach the insanely controversial series finale. So until next time, be seeing you.
He's coming along nicely.